Okay, I had a guitar tap. So a guitar tap is going to sound something like this. And it's a relatively easy skill to learn, which sounds more advanced than it actually is. And so when learning how to guitar tap, the three things you'd want to be mindful of: which string you're going to be learning how to tap with, where on the fretboard, and the actual frets that you're going to be using. So the actual string you're going to learn is important. I'd recommend the high E string, which is the bottommost string, because when you're tapping, you're going to be pulling off the string. And by using the bottommost string, you don't have to worry about accidentally hitting a string below it, because there is none. I would also recommend learning higher up on the fretboard, where the frets are wider in the beginning, so that way there's a greater chance of you actually hitting the intended fret that you want to hit, whereas down here it's a little more narrow. It's going to be a little more difficult. And the actual frets. So I would recommend using the frets that have the small circles, so the 3rd, 5th, 7th, etc., because that's going to give you a good visual of, where exactly to hit on the fretboard. So for the sake of example, we could use the 5th fret, the 7th fret, and the 12th fret on the high E string. And what we're going to be doing is hammering onto the 12th fret with the 5th fret and the 7th fret being given pressure by your index and ring finger. So hammer onto the 12, pull off to the 7, pull off to the 5, hammer back onto the 7, hammer back onto the 12. And that's a tap. And basically what you're going to do is practice that same combination until you get faster and faster and faster. And you can set this up to a metronome, or you can kind of just do it by ear. So we'll do it again, start slow. Start off slow, get the technique down. So for example, the technique could be whether or not you want to use your index or your middle finger. The index finger could have a little bit more accuracy, dexterity, but the middle finger could have a little bit more power. So say for example, you start off using your index finger and you can't seem to get a good pull off. Maybe you could try to use the middle finger because it's a little more powerful, or vice versa. Say you're missing the fret and you're hitting the bar or the wrong fret, maybe you could try to use the index and try to get a little bit more accuracy. So just be mindful of the technique in the beginning. Try to get the technique down good, and then once you get a good sound and your technique is, you have a good foundation of your technique, start to go a little bit faster. And then what you could do is you could use the same 3 fret combination, move up to the B string. So now we're getting practice jumping strings. So take your time in between jumping strings. Get used to going from one string to the next. Go as slow as you can and practice that. Another thing you're going to have to be doing, aside from jumping up and down strings as you get a little more advanced with tapping, is going up and down the fretboard. So in addition to using the 5th, the 7th, and the 12th frets, what we could do is, after we do that 3 fret combination a few times, we could do a different combination of the 7th, the 9th, and the 15th. So we could start off the 12, 7, 5. And then move down to the 15th, 9th, and 7th fret. Back to the first 3. And so again, go slow. Just try to get comfortable going up and down the fretboard. And again, I like to use those combinations of frets because they all have the small dots. So when you're looking down at your guitar, you have a better visual representation of where exactly you're going to hit. So when you're practicing, try to get a combination of all those different techniques in, whether it be string jumping, or going up and down the fretboard. Another technique that you could learn is called trills. So trills is hammer-ons and pull-offs, but going very fast. So if you didn't want to use the traditional hammer-on pull-off technique, which would be like this, what you could do is use the bottom portion of the pick right here, and you could go up to any combination of 2 frets and just hit repeatedly using the bottom portion of the pick like this. And that is a guitar trill. So practice those combinations, whether it be jumping up the strings, moving up and down the fretboard. Start slow in the beginning. Make sure you're actually pulling off, using good technique, and just practice. If you have any questions or comments, write below. And thank you for watching.